You're listening to The Combine with former sports TV broadcaster Damon Darrensburg, sports gurus Terrence Davis and Will Bryant, and former NFL defensive tackle Marlon Big Bay Favorite. The Combine is a BAMM network production.
All right, what's up, everyone, and welcome to The Combine. I'm Damon Darrensburg, and we're here for this week's show. It's a little bit of a light group this week. We don't have someone in the second chair, but of course, over there to the far right, we have my man, Will Bryant. Will, good to see you.
Good to see you too, D.
All right, man. You know what we're going to start off with. You know, we always start off talking about the Saints because that's what people are hyped about. The Saints had another great game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Teddy Bridgewater had a great game. From what you've looked at so far, what do you think about it?
I have a question for you, D.
Oh, no.
Yes, I have a question right back at you.
Okay.
Because we discussed it a couple of weeks ago. Has Teddy Bridgewater proved himself? Has he gotten the Who Dat Nation behind him now?
Okay.
I got calls from his first game and starting after the first series. Get him out of there. I'm like, guys, relax. The guy's going to be okay. Now all of a sudden, it's the guy we all thought he could be.
Exactly. Well, you had the throw that he threw to Kamara. That's, a little. To me, Kamara should have caught the ball. I mean, it's a little.
Kamara will probably say he should have caught the ball.
Exactly. So he throws that, and the same thing. I got people texting on social media, get him out of there. Throwing interceptions. And I'm going to break up a little bit. I really feel like that's not an interception. If the receiver gets their hands on the ball, it's hard for me to see that as an interception. They should come up with another stat like receivers mishap or something like that.
I agree.
But after that, he lit the Buccaneers up, and then you start seeing these fake fans, these fans from 2009,
Thank you.
who didn't know anything about Jim Haslett and Bum Phillips and Mike, didn't know anything about the Saints, but all of a sudden they're fans since 2009. Oh, now Teddy this and Teddy that, and man, shut up. Shut up. So the thing that kills me is like you have these fans who, if you're expecting Teddy Bridgewater to be Drew Brees, that's not going to happen. He's showing you who he is. And he's also showing you each week, practicing with the first team, he's gotten a little bit better each time. And so he comes out, he lights up Tampa Bay. People actually thought this may have been a trap game because of how Tampa Bay played against the Rams. But Teddy is showing you that this is the reason why Sean Payton paid him to be the highest backup in the league. And he's showing it in this game.
We're basically, don't want to call us Nostradamus, don't want to call us the Greeks or whatever, but we've been saying this for the last 3 to 4 weeks. Guys, he has to get reps. He's a professional. He's a man. God, he needs the rep. That's not a joke. That's not a game. He's got to get the reps with the ones where you can see that every day. Get the timing down. We saw that first game. Michael Thomas dropped a pass. Why? Because he didn't have the reps. I'm not used to that heat coming from behind it as it is with Drew. So all of the stuff that we talked about for the last 3 weeks, not to break our arms, patting ourselves on the back, is what we said. Guys, let him get the time. He's got the best play caller, best play game caller in the league.
That's right.
Arguably. That guy knows what he's doing. He's going to put you in positions to win. And he's doing that for Teddy. And to watch him succeed right now is great to see. All the different pieces around him. I have another question for you, which I just can't comprehend as well.
Okay.
Michael Thomas.
Okay.
If I'm a defensive coordinator and I'm playing the Saints, and it's the old Reggie Bush model. When Reggie Bush went in motion, 3 people went with him. If he went to get water, 4 people went with him. He's the best decoy ever.
Right.
How does Michael Thomas get 11 catches for $182? Because there'd be 3 people on him if I'm sorry.
Right.
Whoever those other guys are, you're going to have to beat me. That guy's not going to beat me. How does that happen week after week after week?
Well, for the thing that I see is just that defenses seem to be unprepared for what he like, and I don't know why, because he's proven $20 million man why he's getting that money, but it seemed like every week defenses just they don't know where this guy is. And so one of the things that I noticed particularly in the Saints game is that he was going against Hargreaves, the cornerback from Florida. Michael Thomas was killing him. And Tampa Bay never made the adjustment. They had a cornerback who got hurt, and it's not like he was doing a great job on Thomas before he got hurt, but he was killing Hargreaves from the sheer size that he's so much bigger than him. And it's like they never figured out, do we apply some bracket coverage? They put him in the slot. He was killing the linebacker. He was killing whoever they had on him. So to me, it was more of an adjustment. And again, not to take anything from Michael Thomas because he's a great wide receiver. But as a defense,
sorry, he's not beating me. I'm sorry. I don't care what I have to do. You can laugh at me. Why does Will have 8 players on the other side of the goal? All right, that guy's not going to beat me. Right. Tag game, you have to beat me one-on-one. Whoever else put him over there. Kamara can run wheel routes all day. That guy's not catching 11 balls against me. I don't get
right.
it. Now, a lot of it's Sean Payton. He's pretty smart. He knows what he's doing. He's going to move him around. He's going to find the mismatches. So it was a thing of beauty to watch. Happy for him. But Saints fans who were saying from the beginning, if we go 3-1, that's a win.
Right.
Or 3-3. I'm sorry, 3-3. That's a win. You're 3-0, and there's a good chance you can run the table now. You go 6-0.
Yeah.
And I know Drew is pushing to come back earlier. Why do you think that is? I don't want to throw anything out there, but I'm just saying, why do you think Drew is pushing to come back earlier? Drew,
because he knew that Teddy was gonna, come in and do what Teddy's doing. Yeah. I mean, you had a lot of people, and I know we're gonna harp on Teddy Bridgewater or how the Saints offense is playing, just because I get tired of hearing people who are these wishy-washy fans. I mean, I'm with Minnesota up and down. Yes, I'll criticize the things that they do, but I can also recognize the reality of what this team is.
Because we're not fans, D. Short for fanatics. We're not. We're objective sports people. Okay. We get it. We root for our team, win or lose. We support our team, win or lose. They win, great. You lose, hey, I'm good. I gotta go to work in the morning. I'm okay.
That's right.
But again, that's the difference, and that's what I try to tell people. I'm not a fan. Oh, you're just a fan. I'm not a fan. I'm not. When I was 11, I was a fan. I'm a grown man now. I'm not a fan right now. Right. I root for my team. They win good. They don't win. I'm okay.
You'll be all right.
It's going to be all right. And I can objectively look at the game and tell you what went wrong, what they did. I don't ever, the referee card will never come out of my mouth because you had a chance to still win and compete. So I don't want to hear it. That's the difference. And so many Saints fans, the Who Dat Nation is full of Johnny-come-latelys, full. And I tell them this to their face, I don't care. You got on the bandwagon when Tracy Porter crossed the 50.
That's right.
I don't want to hear anything else from you. If you can't tell me anything that happened before then,
right.
Get out of here.
Right.
So that's the deal. So I watch it, I look, and I'm thinking to myself, this is great. It's great for the city. I love every minute of it. But that guy as you're talking about, you and I are kindred spirits there, brother, because that drives me.
Oh, well, I've been seeing it from the minute, like you say when Tracy Porter crossed the 50-yard line, I saw it when he caught the interception against Brett Favre. Because there were so many people, if you remember that game, the championship game, and I remember it vividly, Adrian Peterson fumbled the ball like 18 times. The Saints recovered 17 of them, and Minnesota was still in the game. And there were people who still didn't think Garrett Hartley was going to make that kick. When he made that kick, after, like I said, Tracy Porter catches the interception, he makes that kick, all of a sudden everyone in the city who could care less, didn't know what an onside kick was, all of a sudden everyone's Saints fan.
Everybody's in the hallways crying, calling their dad, the grandfathers, I can't believe this happened. And I'm just like, you know what, man? I've been here since 1967. I was in the end zone when John Gillum ran that kick back. Stop it. Come on out your act, man. Stop it. Let's keep it a buck right now. You got on right now when it got hot. That's cool. I'm not going to shame you for that. But don't talk about like you've been there. Starter jackets, like you say. You didn't have the starter jacket. We can't talk to you.
That's right. But man, so back to Teddy Bridgewater. We're talking about him before we got on a rant. And I don't, like I said, I don't want to continue to bash Saints fans because I love a lot of them. I have them in my family. My wife's a part-time Saints fan. So people are talking about how much he's dunking and dinking the ball, and he's not going downfield. Like you said, the same thing I'm telling people, that's going to take reps. He averaged almost 10 yards a pass this last game against Tampa, and again, people are jumping on his bandwagon. He's going further and further down the field. I mean, what else do you want from this guy? I just don't get it.
He's got to rebuild a city or something. I don't know. But basically, that's what we talked about. We said this. I was scared to death as well. Your first game, yes, I'm going to safety valve. I'm going safety routes. That's expected. I'm standing there with a clipboard 1 minute. The next minute, my quarterback's thumb is pointing sideways, and you're in the game, and Aaron Donald's over there breathing snot bubbles. Of course you're going to come in a little shook. That's right. It's going to take a minute to get there. And the guy's a professional. He's the highest paid backup for a reason. He's won playoff. The guy's successful. He's a very good player. I kind of wish he was on another team right now. I'll leave that alone. But he basically can play. So he gets his reps. He's getting better. He's getting more comfortable. But again, I just want to throw the $5 million, $7 million question out there. He goes 6-0. What do you do?
They're not going to put Breeze on the bench.
Of course not.
They're not going to bench him.
I wouldn't be me if I didn't throw it out there.
Well, no, I understand that because, you always hear that thing that guys don't lose their job to injury, but
Pip disagrees with me.
You go during this 6, and who knows, Breeze comes back in 6 weeks. Maybe it's a little longer, maybe it's a little shorter, but the team has now built the chemistry with Teddy. How he runs the offense and how the offense runs with him. And so you bring Breeze back. Like, yeah, he's Drew Brees, and he's the greatest quarterback the Saints have ever had, But now it's almost you have to restart that. You have to reconnect, reconfigure the offense, and get it back to the things that Breeze was doing. And of course, hopefully he's healthy enough to just come in and pick it right back up. But that doesn't usually happen.
No, that doesn't happen. You and I know that. That's 6 weeks of rust. That's not him throwing a ball right now. He can't throw a ball. That's rust. And that game, it's Atlanta, whatever it is, he's going to be shaking off the rust a lot.
Right.
As opposed to going with the hot hand and letting the hot hand continue to do what he's doing. I get it. You can't sit the guy.
Right.
But it's a legitimate question to throw out there to say, do you want to sit one more week? This thing is rolling right now. Let's see how it goes. So it'll be an interesting dichotomy for Sean Payton to have to go through and figure it out. I know he's going to put Drew back out there, but it's a great luxury to have, great situation to have. And all Teddy is doing right now is setting himself up for next season.
That's right. That's right. Now, in saying that, do you think the Saints let him go? So someone said this to me the other day. They said, one, they don't think Breeze is coming back, which I can't predict that. I don't know. If they win the Super Bowl, I could see him not doing that. But let's say if they don't win the Super Bowl, he's probably going to come back. What do you do with Teddy? I mean, he's going to start, because of this performance over these games, he's going to command some attention.
The little bit I know about Breeze, from the little time I spent around him, he's built differently. He's not the guy. I can't see him sunset guy.
Right.
I can't see that. I can see him playing till the wheels fall off. So he's more like Brady in that regard, to where I don't see him going anywhere. And if I'm Teddy, I'm like, hey, I kind of proved myself right now that I'm back, the knee's good, everything's fine. Time for me to go out here and try to run my own show. And there will be opportunities for him to do so.
Yes.
Great opportunities for him to do so. So it's only right for him to be able to go out there and look, and then your Taysom Hill becomes your backup, and then he can go on about his way.
You confident in that, Taysom Hill being?
I'm not a Saints fan. I don't care. Look, I love the fact that Taysom threw a pass and it was complete, and people went nuts.
Right.
They're like, see, told you.
It's one pass, and that's my thing. One pass, and all of a sudden, he's proven that he's the next Steve Young.
Told you, he can do it.
Man, once Peyton put that comment out that he thinks he can be the next Steve Young, that just took it overboard.
That was big. I'm like, I don't know what the heck Sean was watching, but the Steve Young I watched was a bad man.
Yes,
completion percentage through the roof, could run as well. So I don't know where he was going with that. But there's a part of me, a small part of me, the petty part of me, that would love to see Taysom get a run. Love to see him get a full game under his belt, a regular season game with the live bullets. Go. And let's see what's happening. I would love to see that. Won't happen, but I would love to see it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Just to, if anything,
to shut some people up.
That's exactly. You took the words out of my mouth.
We gotta stop being petty.
Can't help it, man. Can't help it. All right, defensive side of the ball. Saints only gave up about 257, something like that, total yards. And the defense, I mean, they're not getting a lot of credit for what they've been doing during this stretch. Also, I mean, we talk about Bridgewater and Kamara and Thomas and the things they've been doing to hold the team on the offensive side together. But the defense has been playing well.
That's the part of it that's got me, and I'm going through it right now just to make sure I'm not overstating this. Michael Evans. I don't see a catch from Mike Evans.
Right.
I'm just making sure I'm not over. No. I know somebody told me that, but I want to make sure he wasn't hurt. There was anything along those lines. Marshall Lattimore. It's time we seriously start talking about this kid as a defensive POI, like a TPOY. He might be. He's in the conversation right now for the stuff what he did to Amari Cooper, and now what he's done to Mike. No catches. Like I'm.
Right.
It's time to give this guy his due to where he's playing up to the billing right now. I thought he was good from day one, but people gave him a little heat last season. He took a step backward to regress a little bit. I think he's an absolute stud, and now he's showing it to the point where he's just like, it's almost a Lattimore Island situation over there. Just leave him alone. Let's worry about the other side of the field because he's balling out.
And that's the thing. So, like you said, he took a step back last year. And he still had a decent year last year. It's just that the thing that I always, people expect cornerbacks to, like Deion Sanders didn't shut everyone down on every play that he covered someone. And when you having wide receivers today with a passing game going where it's going and you got the number one wide receiver getting 12 and 13 targets, if you could hold that guy to 6 catches, 7 catches, you've had a great game unless he goes, 6 for 150 or something like that. Right. But if you're holding that guy to 6 catches, and that means that's 7 targets or so that this guy didn't get a catch.
Exactly.
And Lattimore is good for that. He doesn't get a lot of props for that at all. And he just has the length. He's got the long arms. He has great speed. I like you said, I definitely think he should be in consideration for it.
It's a legit discussion to have to where it's not hyperbole. Like, what are you talking about? Like, no, it's a legit conversation to have to to where what he's doing right now, and if it continues, there is no doubt. And that he is balling out now, and he'll be the first one to tell you who's that credit going to. That front four. Mm-hmm. They're getting after it. They're applying pressure. Any defensive back will tell you, like, I'm good because those guys are good.
Because I don't have to cover for 5
seconds. I don't have to cover as long. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So Cam and those guys are getting the heat on up front, so it's making his job a little bit easier, but he's still doing what he's supposed to do on the back end.
And speaking of heat up front, the play of Marcus Davenport, he had 2 sacks against the Bucs. I mean, he looked like he's starting to come around to the guy that they thought he was going to be when they drafted him. I mean, he looks the part. And now he's starting to play the part.
I saw a quote from him this morning where he basically said, I'm just starting to play fast. Mm-hmm. Well, that's pretty much his calling card. Mm-hmm. That's what he is. So if you know his guy, he's an edge rusher to the core. He gets that corner, he gets low, he's getting there. That's what they were trying to see. And I got to be honest, last year I was like, y'all gave up 2 first round for that? Like, right. No offense. Right. I'm like, but 2 first? I mean, good Lord. Right. So he's really coming to his own now. Put that opposite Cam. You got something. And then Sheldon, those guys on now, they've got something to where it's a legit also argument to say, who's the best team in the NFC right now?
I think you definitely have to look at the Saints as the best team in the NFC. I think the NFC North, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Vikings fan, you have all the teams in the NFC North that have a winning record. So I think the North is playing well as a division. But when you're talking about just team, well, I think a lot of people tend to forget about San Francisco also. And I don't think San Francisco could keep up with the Saints offensively, but they're definitely playing good ball defensively.
It's tough to say they can't keep up, but it goes back to that, well, who have you played? Right. I don't like to do that. Right. I don't. They've got the pieces. They've got the things in place right now. You look around, Kyle Shanahan's a monster with play calling. He's just as good as Sean. So you look at that and you're thinking Garoppolo's coming into his own now. They've got a bunch of no-name guys out there making plays for him, but it's within that system. You got an elite tight end in Kittle. You got some speed on the outside. You got some. I just heard the other day that they're going to be in the A.J. Green sweepstakes to possibly try to make that happen. Yeah. Good Lord, if that happens. So there's a lot of layers there to where they're good. They're solid. Right. Defensively, you're absolutely right. They're playing well as well. But it's one of those, Jimmy G hasn't had that game yet. He hasn't had that pressure-packed game where, you know, when we find out.
Right.
What's going on.
Did you watch the game the other night against Cleveland?
Yes.
Cleveland looked terrible.
Yes.
But San Francisco, and then I totally forgot about Joey Bosa, Nick's brother.
No, Nick Bosa, Joey's brother. Right. I got it. No, I got it.
I mean, he's the catalyst, and Richard Sherman looks like he's had a bit of a rejuvenation. Yeah. I mean, I would say yes, the Saints is the best team in the NFC, but definitely watch out for San Francisco. I think you have to watch out for Seattle. Even though the Saints got past them, Russell Wilson is playing at an MVP level. I just think It
goes back to that thing of San Francisco 4 or 5 years ago. They were terrible, and they built. John Lynch literally said, "I'm gonna build this front four first." He did that. That's exactly what he said he was going to do, and that's what he did. He built that thing up first. A couple of free agents here and there, and now you see the pieces are starting to come together for him. But he had a plan, and he followed his plan, and now it's coming out. So again, you're taking guys and you're just plugging and playing here, and I'm looking. I know Marquise good. I know one receiver. Right. I'm like, who's that guy? I don't know that guy. Right. And I know Kittle, the tight end, but I'm like, who's this guy? I mean, they're just plugging and playing. And it's great. It's great to see that. Lets you know Shanahan, his system. I can plug and play, baby. So they're fun to watch, but I want to see him in that marquee game against some quality competition. Then I'll put judgment out there.
We're talking about marquee game and quality competition. We're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys against the Green Bay Packers. That was the big game last Sunday. Your Dallas Cowboys.
Laid an egg. No, they laid an egg. I'm flying back from a wonderful golf trip in South Carolina, and I get on the plane. I got my iPad set up. Boom, I set it up, and I'm ready to rock and roll. And I look up, and I'm like, what in the world? Dak Prescott, I've said it all along. He's a great podium guy. Everybody loves him at the podium. I'm sorry, I don't care if my quarterback can speak well at the podium or not. I want him to hit the guy that's wide open and somewhat in stride. He's not a $40 million quarterback. He's not a $30 million quarterback. In today's day and age, you got to give him at least 20. I wouldn't go higher than 22.
Right.
I would be okay if you decide after the year, if you want to let him walk, let him walk. Because Teddy Bridgewater's right there. I can get him for 15 probably and be just as good, or be better than what we're seeing right now. He needs everything to be perfect around him. in order for him to be successful, and your great quarterbacks don't need that. We've seen it. Great quarterbacks say, get on my back, and I'll make plays.
That's right.
If Zeke's going to get bottled up, I'll make plays. Zeke didn't really get bottled up there. And
they just didn't run him.
They didn't run it. They got behind.
Right. Then they got to throw the ball.
And like I told you pre-air, I said Troy Aikman called it right there. He's down 14-0. He says, if the Cowboys think they're going to get back in this game by throwing the football, they got another thing coming.
And so that's basically his way of saying.
He didn't say anything about the Green Bay pass rush. He didn't say anything about the Green Bay defense. He's basically saying Dak ain't built for that.
That's right.
And that's not going to happen. And I've said that all along. He's not that guy. I'm talking triple coverage at some of the throws he made. And I'm just like, ew. And I listen to scouts. I talk to scouts. And I literally had a great trip in South Carolina with a former NFL head coach who, when I finished talking to him, and I said, look, I do a little podcast in New Orleans. He says, whoa, Will, you can't repeat any of this stuff I said. I said, well, I'll just leave your name out of it. How about that? Right. He said, okay, fine. But I went through the list of the quarterbacks, and all the elite ones, all the ones so-called elite. And I asked him about Dak, and he said, okay. And this guy's fresh out the league. Right. He's fresh out. He's like, he's not there. He needs everything to happen around. I said, that's what I said. I asked him about Baker. Love Baker. I said, wait, really? He says, no. We had Baker high. He said, I personally tested Baker. Had him up high, accurate kid, blah, 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 blah. He's going through it right now, that second year that we talk about where the book gets out on it. Absolutely. He said, but no. I believe in him big time. I said, okay. So there's some layers there. The defense has always been an issue for me with the Cowboys with Rob Marinelli, simply because I just feel like it's an old, antiquated concept. The cover 2 concept, the Tampa 2, it's just old, and it's something that can be defeated. We've seen it before. The zone, it's bad. And so if Green Bay can gash you, then everybody else is going to gash you as well. And I've seen that movie before. So I'm concerned just on the level of that. I thought Chris Richard would have more of an impact as a defense coordinator, but he's a passing game coordinator, not the defense coordinator. So all of that stuff tied into it. Should be okay against the Jets this week. Looking at the schedule, 9-7, 10-6, and they can still win the East.
Right.
But all of this talk about best team in the league, I never bought it just because number 4.
Right. I hear you. Well, it doesn't make sense to talk too much about Minnesota. They beat the Giants, so I don't have anything to say about that. Really? But one thing I do want to talk about before we get to the end of this first segment is the Saints are going to be going against the Jacksonville Jaguars. They got Leonard Fournette, Jalen Ramsey, telling what he's doing on the defense side of the ball. He doesn't seem like he wants to play. He wants to be traded, all that kind of stuff. But their quarterback, Minshew, however you pronounce his name,
that's it.
Looks like Rico from Napoleon Dynamite.
Yes, he does.
But he's been playing well.
Balling. And
he was good at Washington State, though.
Yes. Again, another Washington State kid that comes out. What do they do at Washington State? They sling the rock around. So he's out there just having fun, throwing the ball around. But the thing I love, man, I actually caught some of that game in the airport. And he had a play drop back, and Fournette jumped in front and made the block for him. And he made the pass, made the completion, and he screams at Fournette. Like he's just in it. Great job. So that lets you, this is a young kid, but he gets it. He understands it. That's the kind of stuff that people rally around.
Right.
Not the Baker Mayfield stuff that you're out there just talking and not backing it up.
Right.
That's the kind of stuff that'll win over a locker room, and it's going to be tough for Nick Foles to get his job back if this kid keeps doing what he's doing. That's the stuff that people look and gravitate towards, and I love seeing every bit of it.
Now, that's the thing. We talk about players not losing their job to injury. I think Foles has lost his job just because this kid has stepped in. He's young. You can build around him. Foles, he's older. He has the injuries. I think he's gone. Not gone, but I don't think he gets his job back.
Not right now.
Right.
Not immediately. And again, who wrote that book? Call Drew Bledsoe right now and ask him, can you lose your job to injury?
Right.
Lose your job to injury. So I don't know who wrote that. If the next guy steps in and goes 5 for 5 with 2 home runs, guess what? You lost your job. Right. It's okay. So the same thing applies in this. I don't condone that. So I'm like, no, if another guy steps in, NFL, not for long. Again, it's a what have you done for me? Every cliche you can think of comes into play right now. I don't care. The money thing is the only thing that may keep you on the field more, give you more opportunities because we're paying you X amount of dollars. But outside of that, I don't want to know. You can lose your job to injury. Absolutely.
Oh, no, I believe it. It's just like you said. It just seems like something that's like an unwritten rule, like in baseball, don't flip your bat and stuff like that. But
unwritten,
you can definitely lose your job to injury.
Best ability is availability. You're not available, whatever, man. I'm sorry. I remember Drew Bledsoe vividly at the podium after they won a Super Bowl here, and Tom Brady's going nuts. and Drew Bledsoe's standing there like somebody stole his dog. And Brady's hitting him like, can you believe this?
Yeah.
I promise you, Drew Bledsoe has no idea where that Super Bowl ring is right now.
At all. Probably so.
Probably so.
All right, so as we wrap up this first segment right quick, what do you think, does Jacksonville get the Saints problems, or you think?
Yes, only because they always do, especially there. It should be hot. And it's a situation where they're going to run. Leonard's running well.
Yes, he is. And
Minshew's playing well. So you're going to have that component going against you, I guess. At some point, I don't want to say the letdown game, but at some point, the Saints have to flatten out, right? You would think.
Right.
Or is this thing just hot and running? And they're like, who's next? Line them up. Who's next? It could be that. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to seeing that because that's the part of it I'm looking at. And I got a bunch of these. I just left an event and a bunch of Saints fans are, we're going to Chicago. You coming? I'm like, oh my God. Like, they can't wait. They're going to load up and they're going to Chicago and they can't wait. They're already, Jacksonville who? We're going to Chicago.
Right. Already overlooking Jacksonville.
Already overlooking it. So it's like a situation where I know the players aren't doing that, but this should be a fun, tough challenge, I think.
I think it will be. And you said the thing that I was thinking about. Fournette is running the ball extremely well over the last couple of weeks. Their defense is playing well, even without Jalen Ramsey. They got speed at the linebacker. I think it's going to be a tough game for the Saints. Again, in the way the quarterback is playing, I mean, he can put points on the board, and they have been putting points on the board. So I don't think it's one of the Saints going there and easily win.
And he's not afraid to throw the ball downfield. And DJ Chark, LSU kid, is playing well.
Yes,
playing
he is.
very well.
Yes,
so they've got some weapons out there to where it's enough to keep you honest. So there's my matchup for the week. Lattimore and DJ Chark. That should be fun to watch.
Yes. Well, we'll see. We'll talk about it when we come back. All right, so we wrapped up the first segment. When we come back, we're going to take a look at LSU in that first game against Florida on the Combine.
We are sitting down talking to Dr. J, the hearing doc, who is helping people in New Orleans hear and speak better. What's your favorite performer this year that you're looking forward to?
Tank and the Bangers, Diana Ross, Big Frida.
How you got your start?
I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Who inspires you?
I am inspired by everyday people.
Don't make permanent decisions because of temporary feelings.
Ultimately, you have to learn to depend on God and yourself.
I had a pound of weed in the trunk. I knew that day I was going to go to jail. I want them to know that they can't make it, that there is hope.
In New Orleans, art is everywhere, but sometimes that artistry could come at a price.
Just to put a mural up should not cost an artist $500. We think it should be $50.
I just hate that someone would do that and feel they could come in here and do whatever they want.
I went to prison for distribution of cocaine, and that was a past life.
There should not be prison without reentry service, just period.
You're listening to The Combine with former sports TV broadcaster Damon Darensburg, sports gurus Terrence Davis and Will Bryant, and former NFL defensive tackle Marlon Big Bay Favorite. The Combine is a BAMM network production.
Welcome back to The Combine on Talk Back NOLA, part of the BAMM network. I'm Damon Darensburg here with Will Bryant. Will, we just finished talking about pro football. We got LSU coming up. They had a great game against Utah State, which was expected for them to have, but they're going against a tough Florida team this weekend. Or do you not think Florida's tough?
Florida's tough, but Vegas thinks not that tough.
Right.
So they're 2-touchdown favorites over the Gators, and that's to me dangerous.
Yes,
we're dealing with these kids. You know, they see that as well, and it's very easy for them to come out a little bit flat. But It's really the SEC opener. No disrespect to Vanderbilt. This is the one you're circled. You're like, and you don't expect Florida to come in undefeated, but they are. So now game on. It ramps it up a little bit. So I expect the atmosphere to be completely bonkers. It's homecoming also. It's going to be crazy. I'll be there. Can't wait. And it's a situation where now we really get to see, again, Joe against Texas. That was great. The offense against Texas. But against, Florida, there's athletes everywhere. There's Sunday athletes everywhere.
And that's the thing. I'm a little bit shocked by the 2-touchdown line in Vegas. And I think part of it is, LSU's been putting up a lot of points. The offense is playing ridiculously well, against all these other teams. But Florida, they got as much speed as LSU. And, speed is sometimes the great equalizer. They may not be as physical up front, but their defense isn't a slouch. Now, they didn't have their second-string quarterback in because Franks got hurt, and the second-string quarterback got banged up a little bit last week. But he's been playing well. Just overall, I just think 14 points just seems like it's a lot to have LSU favored by. And not saying that they can't win by that, but I just don't see them putting up 42-49 against Florida.
If I had to say the 14-point spread comes strictly from the quarterback position, I think you look at Burrows and you look at Florida and you're thinking Burrow is that much better, so that's the deal. Not that Felipe Frank was any, but again, if I had to base it, it's based off of that. And what they're doing offensively is video game-like. Right. And when you think about 14-point spread, that could be a 24-3 game. That could be something along those lines to where that, again, you won't hang half 100 on these people because of the speed and the athleticism that they possess. But you can go out there and get 28 points easily and hold them to 7, and you've done your job. So that's sort of why I look at it.
And that's, I guess, I was looking at it in that sense also, but LSU's defense hasn't exactly played well to think that, you're going to hold Florida to 14 points. Now, they could easily. They could break out this game. Grant Delpit all of a sudden just shows up as the, not that he's not having a great season, but he's definitely not having the season that people thought he would have. But, to think that they would hold Florida to 14 points with the way they've been playing recently, I'm looking at more of like a, 31-ish, 24-ish game or something like that. I don't see the defense holding Florida to 7.
That's where I go back to the backup quarterback. I promise you, if we can just hang our hat on that, that's what they're basing it on. LSU's defense hasn't been what we thought it would be to date, but they're going against a backup quarterback, so you got to figure this will be the game where they can possibly come out and apply enough pressure, get some turnovers, and get things going on that side because they know offense is going to carry their part. If they can ever get both of them together, then we'd have a serious issue. So I think that's what it's based off, solely off of Florida coming in with a backup quarterback. But again, Florida's coming in with elite athletes, not average athletes, elite athletes. So that alone is enough to where you got to give them the respect. And I'm pretty sure Coach O was letting, hey, look, I did some 4 stars and 5 stars over there too. So, and this is real SEC play. They're unbeaten for a reason. I don't want to hear that who they've played.
Right, they just beat a decent Auburn team.
Auburn was
undefeated also.
Absolutely. So yeah, if that didn't wake you up, nothing will. So I expect to get the real Tigers. I expect to see that.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, I think also that 14 points, I think that's a bit much. But like you said, I think we're going to get the real Tigers. I think we're going to get a good game against Florida. But I know you're not big on moral victories or, but if they come out and absolutely beat this Florida team by 14, 17 points, what do you think that does for them as a team in getting ready for Alabama? Or what in terms of when they have to play Alabama?
No. I think that's the gift and the curse. So if they come out and perform like we think like they have done so far, Mississippi State next week, you're like, good, they're in trouble. They're not very good. And then you come home for Auburn, and who knows what they would. It literally sets up to where you're just like, you're not even, can we get away with it? Let's get to November, please. Because that's what it's looking like to where here's your test, here's your little row, Florida, Mississippi State, Auburn. And so that's your test, so to speak. Right. 2 of those are at home. Mississippi State's not very good. They go out and perform like this, man, it'll be tough. You think Saints fans are bad, it'll be tough to corral Tiger fans from thinking, we're number 1, Alabama who, let's get it on. Right. And the excitement behind that thing in Tuscaloosa will be off the chart.
Oh, that's going to be ridiculous. So with LSU playing as well as they're playing, something that's come up and I've heard a lot of media and local people talking about, do you think Joe Burrow is a Heisman candidate? Is he a Heisman candidate strictly because of his stats? Because he's lighting it up. And to add to that, does that Heisman candidate or the stats that he's putting up, does that translate into now a high draft position? Do you see him as an NFL quarterback?
Okay, twofold. I just don't care for the Heisman Trophy at all. I think
it's a quarterback award.
It's a quarterback award.
Much, yeah.
The David Maxwell, no, David means nothing. I mean, it's a quarterback award. I don't care for it. I think it's a joke. So, just getting that out the way, is he a candidate? Yes, he is, because of his stats.
Right.
Of course he is, because he plays quarterback and he's putting up stupid numbers, so yes, he's a candidate for it. If he wins it or not, it'd be great. LSU, I could care less. I despise that award.
I knew, and I kind of knew that's was why I asked you that. I wanted to see what you were going to say about it.
Because I just go back, Gino Toretta was the one that did it for me.
Like, the Miami quarterback?
Yes, when he won it in '92, I think it was. And I just remember thinking to myself,
this dude ain't good.
He's not the best dude on his team. How's he the best player in the country? He won. This guy's the best player in the country.
That's right.
And I'm like, it's a quarterback. Well, stop it. He wasn't even the best quarterback in the country. He wasn't the best player on his team. So that part. Eric Crouch, and I'm a Nebraska diehard. He wasn't the best player in the team. Stop it.
That's right.
So that's sort of where I go with that, to where I'm just like, easy, the Heisman, whatever. As a pro prospect, he's got to be considered to be a legit pro prospect simply because who's coaching him? Pro guy's coaching him. And we watch. It's night and day from last year to this year what this guy looks like, from 2 years ago to now with this guy. That's because he's getting pro coaching.
That's right.
And you don't think pro scouts are taking note of this and calling Joe Brady and saying, hey, what's going on here?
I guess my concern with that is, because I do feel like he is a pro prospect just from watching his, his launch point and his footwork and his, the throws and stuff that he's making. But he's going to have to go to the right system. You see a lot of these quarterbacks. I use David Carr, not Derek Carr, David's brother. I use him as an example. He lit it up when he was at Fresno State, and then he gets to Houston. The offensive line is terrible, and they don't build around their talents. And that's the thing that I find with a lot of quarterbacks. You see the physical talents, and you're starting to see more pro coaches use RPOs and stuff like that, but a lot of them don't build around the player's talent. And I think a good example of someone who's actually surpassed that, or who they have built around his talent, is Deshaun Watson in Houston.
You're overthinking this one. This is a simple solution. Joe Burrow just drives 50 miles down the road. He's perfect for what they do here. Sean Payton with that kid, he's perfect. And with Joe Brady already in his ear, he's the perfect replacement for Drew Brees. People have been whispering it, and I'm like, no, he would be ideal. He can get that guy in here, sit him for a couple of years, if not 1 year or whatever, based on everything. Not the big arm, but not a bad arm.
It's not bad.
Accurate, timely, all the things that fit. When you say system, that's all the things that fit into what Sean Payton coaches and preaches. I think he'd be ideal to come in here and slide right in. It's too storybook, he's too mushy, whatever. I get all that. But based on what I've seen from that kid, he could step in here right now. He's perfect for what they do here.
Well, the thing that you said, particularly for this offense, he doesn't have the arm strength of a Patrick Mahomes, who just has a howitzer on his arm. But he definitely has the intangibles to make it work in this offense. I think he would work great here. And this is me as not really a Saints fan, recognizing that this kid could play quarterback for this team because, like you said, he's being coached by Joe Brady. They have an offensive scheme, 100% similar to what the Saints have. He's making all the throws necessary at LSU. You bring that here, I think, he gets used to the speed of the game. I think he'd be great here.
The only thing is he'd have to change his uniform number. But other than that, he'd be great. He won't get to wear 9 here, but other than that, he'd be fine. I think he'd be a perfect, smooth transition. And what I love most about it, having an NFL guy coaching you, in that's where you really get. So when college coach or when pro coaches come on campus and they're scouting, go through the whole process, and they're talking to different folks or whatever, and they want to know who's coaching this kid. And then when they see an NFL guy's coaching this kid,
and how's he responding?
How's he responding? Is it too much? You feed him too much? Like, no, he's caught on quick. He regurgitates everything. He's good. That stock goes up a little bit. So that's how I look at him, to where he's really going to blossom and get more grades. Jalen Hurts, with all due respect, he's going to run off of what's being done in Oklahoma with Kyler and Baker. So he's going to ride that wave on there. Good for him. Trevor Lawrence is going to ride the wave in next year of him being the prototypical guy or whatever. Okay, but this kid is being coached by an NFL guy every day. Who's going to be more pro-ready than him?
That's right.
I think the kid's going to be ready, and I think that's only going to improve his stock.
And you brought up a name that I've heard a lot about and actually have been intrigued with since he's gotten to Oklahoma, is Jalen Hurts. We saw what he did, how he lost his job to Tua in the championship game that they won, with the pass to the touchdown pass against Georgia. Then he had to come in last year, basically save them to get them to the championship game. But now he's gone to Oklahoma, and in my opinion, he's turned into a decent passing quarterback. There are definitely some things that he can work on, but I actually see a little bit of Deshaun Watson in him if he can find the right coaching in the NFL. Because I think he's going to get drafted from what he's shown in the NFL.
So that's the Lincoln Riley matter. So that's where Lincoln Riley whispers in your ear, sprinkles dust on you, and then that's what happens to you. I agree with you to a degree. Deshaun is another. I'm a big Deshaun Watson fan. Yes. So I just look at Jalen Hurts. I've yet to see him put it in a small window. I've yet to see him throw anything that was contested. And again, that's no fault of his. The guys are wide open. He's dealing with some elite guys. They're wide open. That's what it is. So that's the telltale sign. But that's what they said about Baker, and that he was incredibly accurate. We haven't seen that. We saw it a little bit last year, but now guys have changed to flip the script on him a little bit. Now we're seeing him stuttering and pumping him instead of letting that thing go. So Kyler, same thing. I heard the good things about Kyler Murray as well. Is it the same? Is he as accurate? He was, but now he's got to get out more to be able to see his passing lanes to be accurate. So Jalen Hurts is throwing everything on the money, and guys are wide open. So you know the telltale. Like if you want to draft that, that's fine, but understand what you're getting. That's right. When those windows get tighter, when you got to throw guys open, that's all a different animal. I don't know how he's going to adjust to that, but if he's got to tuck him and take off with it, he's another running back out there, without a doubt. Exactly. So I think he's fine.
We're going to bring it back a little local. So we've been talking about LSU, but how about Tulane, man? 4-1, leading their conference. Broke Army's 15-game win streak? I mean, what's going on with Tulane?
Another question for you. When's the last time Tulane's been a 34-point favorite over anybody?
Who do you got, UConn this week?
UConn.
Oh,
34. And I'm thinking, okay, Vegas is trying to trick somebody or something. What the heck is that? 34. So we've watched them a lot. Offensively, they're putting up pretty good numbers as well. And it goes back to what we said before the season started. They expected to do this. This isn't an anomaly. They expected it. So I love watching Dolphine run the football. I wish he carried it 25 times a game.
He only 9 carries last week? But he still ran for 75 yards.
He always does. That's what he does. I swear, he's the most, he must miss classes during the week or whatever. He sits out the first half of every game. Gets in the second half and tears it up. But guy had an angle on him, and he just took the whole Army. All of y'all, come on, nobody's going to catch me. He's ridiculous. So they're playing at a great spot right now, at a great number. I'm happy to see it simply because I've had a couple of conversations with the guys over there, talked to Fritz, and he was literally on a, not my way, at a highway thing, but I believe in my system. If you guys will be patient with me, this will be okay. And we were all like, that 1 AA crap ain't gonna work around here, man. You have to, and you know what? He listened. That triple option stuff, all that, he got away from that. He's incorporated a lot of RPO stuff. So everything that he said and to believe in is coming to fruition now for him. So it's good to see. They're playing well. And I'm like, if they can go 5-1.
I was just about to say, they really don't have a challenge. I mean, Memphis may. You never know what you're going to get with that Memphis team. Memphis will be a challenge. And then UCF, they're so up and down, and then I think they got SMU at the end of the season, who are there ranked right now. But like you said, they can win some
8 games.
That's right.
They can win 8 games. And again, what do we want? We want progress, right? So if he goes from 4 wins, 6 wins to 8 wins, I mean, again, that's good. So I'm excited to see what they're doing over there, and happy for him as well, because again, the guy said, I believe in my system, I believe in my players, this is the way I'm going to do it. It's a complete opposite of what CJ did when he got there. Curtis got there and he built a fence around New Orleans and brought in all New Orleans kids. Right. And again, we were all excited for that. Like, yeah, Curtis, you're keeping them home. That's great. They're good. Yeah, but you didn't have any beef. Right. You didn't go out and get some beef and whatever. So that's what he went to Georgia, Florida. Fritz is going to Georgia and Florida and Texas and got some beef and brought it in addition to the skill guys. So he's really done it his way, in a creative way, and to where we were a little skeptical in the beginning, but now he's doing a really good job.
Well, speaking of beef and skeptical, this next subject is probably a little bit of both of those, or touches on both of those. So speaking of local football on the high school scene, St. Aug recently had to let go of 3 coaches because of a video that was released of them basically creating their own hype video, getting hyped to play against whatever school they're playing against. Some people say it was Brother Martin. Some people say this video may have been taped a little while before that. But the kids started chanting Chant that used the N-word and also used some profanity, and the head coach Nathaniel Jones ended up getting fired. So a lot of people firing back in the community. He shouldn't have gotten fired. People are kind of torn on both sides. What do you see? I mean, you grew up in the Catholic League. What do you think?
It's a tricky one, but it's one of those where, especially in 2019, in this day and age, the social media age or whatever, it's a situation where there's just do's and don'ts. And there's just certain things you can get away with now, and certain things you just can't get away with.
That's right.
And it's one of those where the coach who was leading the chant, what is he doing? He's on. And it was hard for me to explain this because I got a phone call from a white parent, my buddy, and his son plays for Brother Martin, and he says, what do I tell my son? What do I said, tell him to call me.
Right.
I explained it to him. But it's one of those situations where I've been in that hype huddle. I've been there with the coach yelling in my ear, getting us hype or whatever, and certain words may have been said that probably weren't fit for TV.
Right.
Definitely weren't fit for TV, but it happens. But we didn't have cameras back then, or camera phones back then, and all that stuff back then. So does that make it right? No. But that's what was going on. Greg Williams talking about knocking somebody's head off and taking them out, take the head of the snake and the rest will fall. That's been going on before the end of time.
That's right. It's going to continue.
And it's continue to go on, but nobody's recording it right now and publishing it. So it's unfortunate, but if I can't say, man, the coach you gotta check around, make sure nobody's got a camera.
That's right.
I mean, it's just the nature of the beast right now to where, man, before you do anything, unfortunately, you got to check your surroundings and make sure, because that's where we are right now. And everybody is uber sensitive. God, everybody's uber sensitive. So today's society, that's just the way they are. The kids today, that's just the way they are. My own kids, I have to deal with that. When I'm trying to toughen them up and whatever, it is what it is, because it's just the way things are structured right now. It's unfortunate, but I understand it just because of the times right now.
Well,
That's the way it goes.
You took the words out of my mouth. There's not much I can add to that. One of our photographers was hoping that we would get an argument about it, but everything you said is exactly what I was thinking. The climate that we live in and the time that we're living in, they had to do something. And it's just unfortunate that this is what they had to do. But like you said, I've been in football locker rooms, you've been in football locker rooms. There are some ridiculous things that are said, but they're not being recorded and put on social media. So yes, you have to act for the bigger picture. You can't just act for the black community or the St. Aug community. You have to act for the bigger picture, and that's what I saw happening, and it's just an unfortunate incident.
It really is. So it's one of those deals where you hope it doesn't follow the guy the rest of his career. Hopefully he can get back or whatever. He's got to take some time off. But it's a situation where those kids who were sitting there getting riled up or whatever, they've heard that before. And I even said to my buddy, his kid, I said, your kids heard that word in the locker room before.
That's right. And probably heard it like the rap music they listen to and everything.
And I said that. I said, your kids probably said that word before. Probably reciting the lyric. And it just rolled off the tongue. Not even thinking about it. And he's like, oh, no. I said, look, I'm not admonishing you for it. I'm just telling you. I'm pretty sure it happens because of that. So there's no way I'm going to sit here and tell you that. But I know you. I know how you believe or whatever. But still, that situation to me, I just sat there and my first thought was, I don't see what's the big deal? I don't get it. Oh, somebody filmed it and posted it? Yeah, okay, that's bad.
There you go.
Okay, I get it now. Because leading up to it, I'm like, that's it.
Right.
I literally, when somebody sent it to me, I saw the link, and I thought it was going to be something where they were talking about the white players.
Right.
I literally thought they said something disparaging about the white players. They're talking about black players going to N-word. Okay, so I know rappers are constantly talking about eliminating the word. Some of them, we got to eliminate it from the lexicon. We got to get it. Some guys are saying, well, it's a sign of empowerment because it was such a bad, it was a demeaning word for so many years. We're going to make it an uplifting word now. And I've gone through all of those deals, man. As a kid, there's growing up around it and seeing it and whatever. We get it, but it's a situation where today's day and age, from the classroom to the playing field to wherever, you just can't do it. And if you do it, it better not get out. And we can go from the highest levels of positions of jobs all the way down to this, to where the similar situations have happened and the person's got to go.
That's right. That's right. I can't disagree with you anymore. Like I said, you took the words out of my mouth. I had no.
I don't know why they thought we were gonna fight on that.
If you read comments on social media, there are definitely people who are on opposite sides of the fence about how it should have been handled, or but like I said, for me, it's just a bigger picture. Yes, if it hadn't been recorded, it'd probably been like, oh, that's what they said. Okay, no. But when you record it for everyone to see, it makes the problem much bigger.
And it's St. Aug.
That's true.
It's not roast beef high school. Mm-hmm. It's St. Aug. And you can't be the nationally renowned marching 100, playing for the president, playing in the Rose Bowl parade, Leonard Fournette, Tyrann Matthew, all those guys. That's the deal. So now it's a situation where it's not a blip on the radar. It's that place. Right. 50 guys in the NFL. It's that place to where there's a spotlight with all black Catholic school, the first of its kind in the world. It's that place to where, no, that spotlight's a little bit brighter than anywhere else. So put all of that stuff out there to where that place, St. Aug, the school where you couldn't go anywhere else, so we create our own. And this is where we're going to send our kids. And, well, the N-word shouldn't be thrown around like that. We're uplifting over here. We're building up. And no matter how you and I view it, the outside, the way they look upon it, it becomes that issue for that place and this situation. It's when you talk about the double whammy and just, oh, man, it was a double down of all double downs to where, and damn, it's at St. Aug too. Yep. Gosh, so it could not have happened to a worse situation, a worse place. So, yeah, it was just all of it rolling downhill at that point.
All facts. Well, we're about to roll uphill because I want to talk about the Pelicans.
Yes.
And that first game against the Atlanta Hawks, they've started off the preseason. They got a game tonight, Wednesday, against the Chicago Bulls. But we both watched that game, and I'm excited about what I see from the Pelicans. And just from Zion Williamson to Drew to Lonzo, Brandon Ingram caught me by surprise. I didn't expect him to play so well. I mean, if they can stay healthy, I'm not ready to give them the number one seed or anything like that, but if they can stay healthy, I really think the Pelicans can be really good.
We said this a couple of weeks ago. I think you were out when we had David Wesley here, and it's a situation where I like where we are because there's a sneak-up quality. We can sneak up and surprise some people. Now, if we keep leading off SportsCenter with Zion dunking on people, probably won't as much.
And that's going to come. That's going to come.
Definitely going to come, without a doubt. But Zion, like I said, he could fall out of bed and average 16 and 8 just on hustling along.
Right.
I hope he does 20 and 12, but I'm good. You know what? Lonzo is the key, and the new improved form on the shot, 3 of 8, whatever. I don't care about that. It just looks better, and it's going to be more consistent. His playmaking is always, he's not going to forget how to distribute the basketball. Right. He's not going to forget how to guard people. And him and Drew, I'm just give them whatever nickname you want to give them right now, 5 foot, whatever. They are locking, brother. They're going to be locking folks up, and that is what I cannot wait to see. The perimeter defense that's going to start the fast break is going to be great. Jackson Hayes with energy. Alexander's coming off the bench. You look at the pieces. And again, it's hard.
They got a lot of depth.
Yes, it's a lot of depth. That's my point. It's like you want to temper the enthusiasm, but you're like, I kind of see something here. There's some pieces, there's something you can work with, interchangeable parts. And we just talked about it for. We even mentioned JJ Redick.
Right.
There's just so many layers there to what's out there. I'm trying to calm down. I am. I'm trying to calm down.
They're going to end up. They have so much depth. They're going to end up cutting some people that could go somewhere else and
play.
Yes,
absolutely.
Because I'm looking at the roster.
Yeah.
They have a lot of pieces.
Absolutely.
That can make this thing work.
And bring up Derek Favors. Bring up Jahlil Okafor. Like there's some people there. But he can still play. He can still play. We're littered with top 10 picks on this team. So all of that stuff into play, the talent can finally come out and guys can play and play freely. I'm excited. I'm going to the game Friday night, and I haven't been to a preseason basketball game since I worked there. Lord, anything I want to do rather than go to that. But I'm going. The excitement's got me. I'm going. So I want to see it as well. I think it's going to be great to see. And the 25th for the opener, can't wait to see that. It's just the Zion piece can literally just be pushed to the side, get the pressure off of that kid. You don't need to be super.
It's going to be so hard, though, because he's coming in, we got the poster on side of the parking garage over there, and just his face is everywhere, and he's the number 1 pick, and everything that he did at Duke, and then you saw the 3 to 4 dunks that he had in the game against the Hawks. It's so hard to avoid that. And then every dunk that he has is going to show up on SportsCenter, especially when he has the one that he's cocking back or coming through the lane.
Offhand.
Yeah, that's going to be on SportsCenter, and that just builds that pressure.
And what I mean by pressure, you're right. You're absolutely right. But let me back it up a minute. What I mean by pressure is inside of 2 minutes, we're not clearing out for Zion. That's what I mean.
Right.
That's when I say, hey, Zion, get on the block. We're going to give you.
That
right. Won't happen.
That's right.
It'll be Drew get us to the
right.
basket, make a play or whatever. And Zion, you could clean it up if need be. That's what I mean by pressure. If he's in New York, they're clearing the thing out for him and saying, Zion, give me a back. That's pressure. The kid's like, wait a minute. I'm going one. Like, no, he won't have that responsibility here. It'll be JJ's going to be in a corner. There'll be so many players that it'll get to before it gets to him. That's what I mean by the pressure.
And one of the things that I saw, we talked about this, he had 16 points in the game against the Hawks, and he did that off of dunks and putbacks. I mean, probably he's going to shoot 70% from the field if he has those type of opportunities. But like you said, you don't put him in those situations where he's at Madison Square Garden or in LA playing in front of all those people, and like you say, 10 seconds left on the clock, we're down by one, we get the ball to Zion.
Clear out.
Yeah,
that's what I mean by pressure. Yeah. He won't have to deal with that, and that's the good thing.
I'm excited about him, man. Like you said, I don't know if I'm going to go to a preseason game because I'm all about regular season. I like to see when the games count, but I haven't been excited about, I wasn't as excited about Anthony Davis. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because he had just come off that game where I think he shot 2 for 13 in a championship game in Kentucky, but still won the MVP. Right. And I knew he was a great player, and he's turned into a great player. But for some reason, I don't know. Maybe it's because I've been watching.
Because he wasn't leading out SportsCenter every night. Because he wasn't doing anything that made you your jaw drop.
I've been watching.
Because Calipari said he wasn't the best player on my team. We never ran a play for him.
Right.
That's why all of those things never happened for Anthony Davis. He was great, but he wasn't this. He wasn't earth-shattering great to where we stop what you're doing to watch him. That's the difference. So no, you're fine for that, for being that way.
But I've also been watching Zion since he was he was on YouTube and as a sophomore in high school, and he looked like he's playing against a JV team, but he's a sophomore going against sophomores, and I'm just like, man, this kid is good.
So to your point, and I've been watching those same videos. My son put me on him, so I'm like, he's been on him forever. So I talked to my friends in the AAU circuit just for that reason. I'm like, look, I'm watching him playing against Tiny Prep over here. Like, what the heck is that? They're like, no, he can go. I said, I want to see him against the elite, because I remember when Randy Livingston, our own guy, when he was coming up through the ranks, dominating at Newman, got a lot of, you're doing it at Newman. Then he goes to the AAU circuit and tore it up as a 16-year-old, beating the 18-year-olds. And we're like, okay, he's a Gatorade Player of the Year back-to-back. He's earned that thing. Right. So that's where I think we are with Zion.
Well, man, I think it's going to be an exciting season. And, Will, it's only been you and I today, but seemingly we've gone an hour, just you and I.
That fast?
Yeah, it flew by that fast. So we're going to have to wrap this thing up. So we'll catch y'all next time. I'm Damon Darensburg for Will Bryant. We'll see y'all next time on The Combine.
The Combine is a BAMM Network production.